We are getting ready to start. So everyone who's recently joined, welcome. This webinar today marks the kickoff of the call for nature-based projects. For me, it's a special event because we formed some great partnerships, which we will introduce in the course of this webinar. What is the call for projects? So why do we need a call for projects? That's the bigger topic. And I would want to quickly run you through the agenda. So we will speak about why do we need a call for projects, what project types can register for this call for projects, and how the submission work. And then I will give a quick outlook on the planned events and activities. But the major point of this kickoff is that the partners could introduce themselves with a quick presentation and some background information on how they support projects. And then we will open the floor for a Q&A session where every project organization that's today joining this call and potentially looking for funding and is part of this call for project could ask questions. And then we will end with a quick celebration of this launch, and we have prepared a press release which also summarizes the information about the call for projects. Because we created a little video for the call for projects, which not everyone has seen, but it summarized quite nicely why we need a call for projects.
Working on a nature-based project is hard. It is difficult enough without having to search for and apply to funding through complicated bureaucratic procedures. Understanding what funders and investors want takes a lot of time. There are many different projects and many different types of funders, all with specific needs. This diversity is great, but often the two sides struggle to match. It's like going on blind dates to find your perfect partner. Let's make this process simpler and more transparent. If you're working on a restoration or conservation project, apply to the 2023 Call for Projects. You will connect with funders, get your own beautiful interactive map, and be featured during in-person events. Follow the link below for all the information, and see you on explorer.land.
Yeah, but the core message is there are a lot of projects out there, and there are a lot of funders out there, and it's difficult to find each other. So we have a few big projects, we have a few bigger funders which know each other's and connect regularly and, let's say, dominate the market. But the long tail, so the hundreds, thousands of smaller to medium projects, for them, it's super difficult to, let's say, provide the information funders are looking for. And also for the funders, it's super difficult to find these projects. And with the call for projects, we want to help to bring both sides a little bit closer together. So it's a structured way on mapping our projects with some key performance indicators for the investment, for investment criteria. And it is searchable by investors. And through this approach, we hope to build these needed connections so that investing in nature-based solution is not a blind date and good luck, so that it's a little bit more systemized and we could build up the right relations. For the submission, it's basically super simple. You have to register your project on explorer.land. It's for free. You can create a nice project profile with your maps, with data as background information. For example, the planet time series, but also deforestation data. You can add drone imagery. You can add news posts to it, make it nice. And then in the second step, you submit your funding needs, which is an easy, accessible form, which tries to ask for as little as possible information. So that's not a long procedure to be part of this process. And this makes it accessible for also small organizations with smaller teams and little resources. So it should be really accessible. Yeah, and the outlook is for this campaign. So it basically already informally started. Today, there's the official kickoff launch of the Call for Projects campaign. It's a campaign that is not running for 2-3 weeks. It's a campaign that's running on a rolling base till December. And it has different stations where we try to collect more projects and continuously submit these funding opportunities, these projects to different investor groups, networks, bring them to different events like the Global Landscape Forums, but also to investors. And finally, together with the NOAA Zürich conference, we are creating like what we will call a climate pavilion, where we'll have the possibility to present selected projects over the entire conference, so where they have a booth and where they can connect with respective investors. Yeah, so now we're coming to the most exciting part of this kickoff webinar, is where I want to introduce, and the organizations will introduce themselves, our partners. So we will start with the NOAA Zürich conference. So NOAA Zürich conference is one of the largest European investment and venture capital and growth conferences. It worked in the ordinary space for regular investments over the past 12 years, but has pivoted into the sustainability and environmental space. And last year, jointly, we organized a project stage where we presented nature-based projects as investment opportunities. And yeah, I would say this has been a first success, bringing these diverse projects towards investors. And we want to consolidate and develop this forward. Therefore, we jointly decided to run this Call for Projects, which will then culminate in the NOAA Zürich conference. I will now move over to Global Landscapes Forum, which is also an official partner of explorer.land and the Call for Projects. Ludwig Liagre, are you on the call and could do a quick introduction?
Nice to meet you, everyone. I hope you can hear me well.
Yes.
I wanted to share with you just a few slides very briefly, so you can have a look at what we do at the GLF and why we are so interested in that call and to be with you today. So you may have heard already about the Global Landscapes Forum, which is the world's largest knowledge-led platform, because we are all about knowledge, about sharing, disseminating knowledge to a global audience where action is needed. And now this year it's our 10th anniversary. So we have gone through many challenges, many successes as well, together with our partners, because we have many charter members and we work with international, national, local organizations all over the world. Among our successes in the past decade, we have helped mainstream the landscape approach. We have created a global platform, very inclusive, with high participation of indigenous people, community leaders, of women. We are very proud to have always more than 70% in average participants from the global south. And we have a large youth network, a large youth community of landscape leaders. We have built a global digital community. We want to share this knowledge with everyone, so we believe in the global knowledge commons. We have helped to launch several major initiatives like the UN Decade on Ecosystem Restoration, and we work a lot on private sector investments and how to get money to where it's most needed at community level. And that's why we have an important partnership with the government of Luxembourg that helps us do exactly that, to get that funding from the private sector and find ways to get it to projects where it's needed. These are just a few photos from our flagship conference on nature-based solutions investments. Every year we have the investment case symposium. Last edition was in Luxembourg. And as you can see, it's all about promoting new initiatives, connecting people, ensuring that projects can be connected to donors and investors. And that's why we are so interested in this call for projects today, and the collaboration with Open Forest and explorer.land. I'd like now just to close this little message by an invitation to GLF Nairobi, the GLF Nairobi conference, a new vision for Earth that's going to take place on the 11th and the 12th of October. And of course, I hope to see you there. We're going to have Dragon's Dance formats where we connect projects and investors. So feel free to register. It's already open. We hope to see you there. And with that, I'd like to thank you and thank the Open Forest team for having us today.
Thank you very much, Ludwig, for this introduction. Now we have the Future Forest Initiative. Future Forest Initiative is, from my opinion, a very interesting initiative. It's like the first European startup accelerator. They also have a forest and climate innovation fund. So they have a focus on European forest projects, but also on startups in that field of reforestation, landscape restoration, with a focus on Europe. Now I want to move further to Callirius.
So Callirius is the regenerative marketplace where nature becomes an asset class. This is our vision. And what we think is key to unlock, well, basically the financial gap that is needed to restore our ecosystems, to keep our planet as a livable place as we know it. What we do then is bring private capital directly to nature-based climate projects. That's why we are here today. And how we do it is through our digital marketplace that we just launched, where we want to offer seamless, transparent, and accessible investment and access to these nature-based projects in a scalable way. And for that, what we see that is needed today is also to bring trust back into, well, the carbon market, as this was has been so far and has potential to be the infrastructure to enable a lot of financing for this type of projects. So what we do today is through our quality framework, proprietary quality framework, which is science-backed, data-driven, and regulated. We select the projects that we offer through our marketplace to ensure their effectiveness and their high impact. And this, well, we keep this framework, of course, updated continuously to make sure that it adheres to the latest standards, and it is founded based on the ICBCM principles when we rolled it out or developed it. We also see that, we were very happy to partner with explorer.land because we believe that as part of ensuring the effective impact and high integrity of the projects, it is key to enable the continuous monitoring and MRV of these projects, and to make that available also to investors, to empower them as well, to communicate their impact, and also to see the impact of the capital they provide. And that's why we've integrated also explorer.land through our into our marketplace. And we also want to welcome all projects that look for early stage financing, as we are developing a fund solution, as well as to market their carbon credits to reach out to us, because and to also of course upload their data and asset as much as they can, and in all media forms to explorer.land to enable this, or to enable this empowerment and this transparency. And we are based in, just quickly, in Switzerland and in Germany, but of course we want to have global reach.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marina, for the spontaneous introduction. Yeah, I'm handing over to enverx, to Bela, to give a quick introduction of his organization and how they are supporting nature-based solutions.
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here. Thank you for the invitation. My name is Bela Gulaci. I'm the founder and CEO of enverx. We are a multi-commodity fintech solution helping project developers get access to project finance at any stage, pretty much. And where we are really focusing is three main areas. One is the pre-financing, where project developers can get access to finance by selling future carbon credits on a discounted rate, where we standardize the processes, we implement regulated third-party due diligence, where we are actually providing independent third-party verification, high-level screening of these projects. When a project is successfully being done, this is where enverx's main job kicks in, where we are escrowing the funds, and we are building actually trust and financial transparency between investors and developers. So what we deem actually the main challenge which is out there today, that investors are or scared, afraid, they don't have the digital solutions to transfer money, and they don't know actually what's happening with their funds. And this is what enverx does. We are from day one monitoring these funds. We are reporting, verifying the financial capabilities of the project developers, if they achieve their KPIs, milestones, how are the use of funds being spent. We realize that in order to have really global investment opportunity for a project developer, we have to standardize the legal and financial structure of investing and create end-to-end digital connectivity with all parties, if they are global registries, secondary marketplaces, third-party integrations. The last where we see actually the bottleneck is that there is no market in the primary segment. So there is no real marketplace where project developers or investors can actually mark their risk, what is their value of investment on day one compared in 2 weeks, 2 months, 3 months. So we actually see the main solution there to create a post-finance marketplace where these future credits, which investors possess from day one, they can transact it, they can fractionize it. So there is a real primary marketplace for it before even talking about secondary marketplaces and exchanges. But as a tech solution, we know that the importance to connect to existing secondary marketplaces or exchanges is as important. And with data, with market price referencing, we create that hedging tools, risk management, and portfolio tools. So how we see the benefits for all users within the value chain is to have global reach, simplifying investment propositions on both ends, secure, trusted and transparent regulated third parties, escrow services, and create price discovery from day one. And that's enverx. Happy to be here. Hope we can invite new customers and new partners to us. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much for this introduction. And we see the partners are very complementary. So I think that's the major value that we bring together, different actors which promote projects at different stages and for different purpose. Is someone here from the Global Rewilding Alliance today? And I will do a quick introduction of the Global Rewilding Alliance. It's an alliance, a network of 130 practitioners and messenger organizations that support rewilding. So I think today there are a couple of million hectares under management by these partners. So I think around 120 organizations already onboarded to Explorer. And yeah, we are reaching out to this network partners also to bring more projects into the database, because if we can grow the database, it becomes more attractive. And yeah, more the place for investors to look for projects. I'm going to introduce now the next partner, Weforest. I will also do it. I know Weforest very well for many years. Weforest is a very well-known environmental organization with a big project portfolio in different regions of the world. Through corporates, they usually finance these projects, and maybe there's the chance that they integrate additional projects into their portfolio and promote them for fundraising. Now I'm handing over to Earthshot Labs. I think they explain on their own how they support projects.
Okay. At Earthshot, we enable financing at planetary scale and of MBS projects focused on restoration and conservation. And we do that by leveraging our tech-enabled carbon project assessment tools, and we get projects ready for diligence for investors. And by streamlining the process from conception of a project to getting a diligence and ready for PDD, we can accelerate the time it takes for a project to get access to capital. So we achieve these by, right now we're providing rapid ARR and RED scoping assessments and also feasibility studies. We leverage our own science models, remote sensing from different satellites, using these data and passing it through machine learning models that allow us to get the data that's needed for the due diligence in very short amount of time and a high level of precision. So right now, for example, what would be helpful for the projects here and what we'll offer is our first step in our pipeline, which is a scoping assessment, where for both RED and ARR. And the way it works is that with the polygon that you upload to explorer.land, we can cross it through a 10-year historical deforestation, get above and below ground biomass, and then run it through our avoided emissions algorithms to figure out what is the potential 30-year carbon credit estimates, and also what are the discounts that should be applied to the project. And very similar for ARR, where we do a land eligibility study, then we pass the model through our growth assessment estimates, and then we can get the final credits based on their methodologies. That's for both ARR and RED. And that's what Earthshot does and what we can offer to the projects. So we can do a quick scoping and assess if the project would be viable for carbon finance. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernard, for this nice introduction. I think Earthshot really contributes with an interesting component to this project portfolio. Not all projects really want to become carbon projects. It's not limited, the core project, it's not limited to carbon projects, but carbon is still an important, very important finance mechanism. And the projects which go into the core for projects and which have a carbon component, they will be assessed on a high level by Earthshot to see what's the carbon potential. As we're now moving towards transparency, and transparency needs data, I want to invite Luisa from Planet and NICFI to quickly introduce the Planet data sets, which, I think liberalize access to high resolution information of landscapes. And this, again, can build the trust that investors feel comfortable to invest substantial money into foreign countries, foreign projects. The floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. I am Luisa Teixeira, and I'm here representing Planet, but I'm actually mostly representing the NICFI satellite data program. Like Alex mentioned, this is under the idea that transparency can come or can be helped by having access to satellite data. And this is a data set that is being funded by the Ministry of Climate and Environment in Norway to make available satellite data that's proprietary from Planet to anyone that actually wants to help reverse and restore or reduce and reverse the loss of tropical forests. So the NICFI satellite data program started in September 2020. It is, like I mentioned, has a purpose of really reducing and reversing the loss of tropical forests, has a very specific focus in the tropics. And it's under this bigger umbrella that the tropical forests and how they fit within the climate change and biodiversity loss and also sustainable development topics. So the Ministry of Environment and Climate in Norway really sees that keeping that kind of ecosystems and rejuvenate them is really a key component to getting us all kind of back on track to these goals of a more sustainable future. The data that's available is this on the right-hand side. You see a brief like a map of the world, of the planisphere, and you can see the colored area is what corresponds to the data footprint that's made available. So it's more or less between 30 north, 30 south, but it also follows the boundaries of certain territories or in ecosystems. For example, the part of the desert is excluded because it's an arid region and it has no tropical forest, as we know. So it's kind of outside of the program in this sense. The program makes available visual and analysis-ready surface reflected mosaics. What does this mean? It means that from all the data that Planet captures, we stitch together the best images available. And this means lower cloud cover and higher quality in terms of signal every month. And we make it available as a one single data asset. You can have this uniquely as a visual component, which means that it's actually prepared to be good to look at from our eyes, or you can have the analysis ready, which means it's better equipped for analysis and machines to look at and to use in models and analytical work. The pixel size is 4.77 meters, which is pretty good. Just for reference, the public satellite data that's typically used is Sentinel, which has 10 meters pixel size, and Landsat, which goes back in time a bit further, has 30-meter resolution. So this is quite groundbreaking in this sense. You can look at a lot more detail. As I mentioned, the data is available every month. The monthly data started in September 2020, and this will go on until the program ends in September 2024. Before September 2020, we have biannual mosaics that started in December 2015. I just want to point out that I have here in bold CC non-commercial license. This does not exclude commercial companies from using the data. And it basically means that it shouldn't be used for profit generating activities. So if you want to use it internally for your own operations, for your MRV, for your internal compliance checks, this is all covered by the license. And for example, actually explorer.land includes the visual assets and other diverse platforms that work in this space actually make use and make this data available to their users so that they can include it in their different operational needs. I'm just going to leave you here. If anyone wants to check out for more information, all the details are under planet.com/NICFI, and you can sign up there. Create an account, very easy to start using. You can use it directly from our browser's interface, etc. API. You can also download the data, or you can go to other platforms like explorer.land and use it there. Thank you all, and questions in chat or later, very happy to receive it.
Thank you, Luisa, for this presentation and this valuable data we are also able to use here in the context of Explorer and the call for projects. If you can see my screen, yeah, I want to thank all the partners for joining, but specifically I also want to thank all the project organizations that joined today. We already have 40 submissions after, let's say, the informal launch. Now there's the official launch today. We will now have, yeah, I would say 50 minutes time for Q&A.
We do have a few that were in the chat. I see one hand that is raised.
Hey, thanks. First off, thanks for organizing this. It's super cool also to see all the partner organizations have joined and all the different dimensions that they contribute. It's a really nice community of people interested in this call. I was wondering about the process for the call. So particularly, are the projects that have been submitted up on explorer.land, can they be browsed? What is the process for interacting with these projects going forward?
Yeah, it's quite simple. So the projects are submitted through this form. During the next weeks, we will create a database, a structured database with a link to Explorer, but also with all the KPIs and information we collected through the project submission form. And then we will have, two phases. So in the first phase, we will open the database towards our partners, to the conference partners, to the marketplace partners. And after this, we will successively also open the database to the public, being aggregated through Explorer on one hand, but we will also have like a landing page where third parties, everyone basically could browse the database, and hopefully there's successful matchmaking. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Okay, we have another question in the chat from Joanna Apostolo, if I pronounce it correctly, excuse me if I don't, on what is the foreseen deadline for the call, which I was just typing in the chat that applications can be done on a rolling basis until end of November, beginning of December. And that is because in December, we will have the culmination event at the NOAA conference in Zürich, mid-December. But applications can be done, like I said, on a rolling basis. Alex, I don't know if you want to add something.
No, so the idea is, last year we had it, the call for projects was very short and just for the NOAA conference. But this time we want to have it open for a longer time and make it also sustainable. So the database should also be accessible after the closing date, end of December. There were also another question: is there a guarantee to get funding? I would love to say yes, but of course there is no guarantee. So what we want to do is want to increase the likeliness that investors and the right projects find together. So remove the blind date and make it a more systematic approach. We can, of course, we can't guarantee anything.
Then the last question that I see from Adrian Gonzalez Chavez is it possible to fund the monitoring and or assessment of the effectiveness of a restoration project on biodiversity, ecosystem services, and human well-being enhancement? So funding just for these activities, I assume, just for the assessment activities.
I just only can answer this question in a very general way. So if there's an investor who's interested in the project and part of the project is like this monitoring approach, then I guess this will be funded, but I cannot answer this very explicitly.
There is one question on how the investor outreach will be occurring, just to expand a little bit on that, because we already mentioned in the chat that the project portfolio or database will first be distributed to our partners, such as Callirius and enverx, in terms of the funding component, but then we will be doing broader promotion and outreach to different types of investors that look for restoration or conservation projects. And of course, in-person events such as the Global Landscape Forum and the NOAA conference in Zurich. So Alex, you want to expand or add on that?
No, it's clear. I think we bring together the portfolio, we make it searchable, and stepwise open it up. And in the long term, we'll build up this structured project sourcing database so that it will be easier for projects and investors to find each other's and really match the needs. So maybe just 2-3 sentences to that. Projects are so different. So we have projects which are coral reef restoration, mangrove restoration, agroforestry, conservation projects, afforestation, reforestation projects, silvopasture projects. And they have absolute different approaches, intervention types, and methodologies they apply, different monitoring, and also very specialized investors. And the Call for Project will not remove all barriers between investors and projects. So it's not that the database finds the perfect project and then you can directly invest as an investor, but it will help in the sourcing process to find the right projects for the right investors. And then the investors and the projects or the funders will go into a dialogue, and investors will request very specific additional information on which they base their investment decision.
Thank you, Alex.
Yeah.
So we will move on to the next question, which is from Puresa. In which stage of the project development should we apply? I'm in early stage and still defining the timeline and budget for the regenerative interventions that we want to. And we have no restriction on that either. So you're welcome to apply even if your project is in absolute early planning stage.
Yes.
And then the next question from Bradley. Is it expected that investors looking for projects only in specific parts of the world, and are they looking at particular habitats only, for example, tropical forests? And our answer would be that no, it's there's not any kind of specific interest. Some of our partners might be looking for mangrove projects in particular, for example, or coastal projects. Others might be looking for projects in maybe temperate areas, but there's no definite set of criteria in terms of ecosystems or geographies. Next question from Orlando. We are working on, or we are organizations that work on reforestation projects EU-based. Would it be possible to coordinate with explorer.land for this call? Yes, please reach out. It's always good to form partnerships that can advance the restoration and conservation movement.
Sure, and maybe also the Future Forest Initiative, which is part of this, which are also members and partners of this Call for Projects, which have a specific focus on Europe, could also be an interesting connection here.
Yes, and we give it a little more time to see if there are more questions coming. but just a small note that this, which relates to the question on until when can projects apply. I mean, of course, we have a set date for this specific call for projects, but we are all looking to continue this work in different forms even after the call has closed, to allow different types of funders or sponsors or philanthropic organizations to be able to find good quality projects to cooperate with, and vice versa. So this will be continuing in some form after the call for projects, because the map on explorer.land will still be there. And as Alex mentioned, we're working on integrating different modules on the platform to make the connections between projects and investors, donors, sponsors easier. Another question just came in. Is there a written document of the call for projects where the criteria or any other important information for the submission of the project is specified? Since we wanted to make this process as simple as possible, we don't really have multiple page document explaining criteria and submission. We have the blog article that Alex just pasted that in the chat that has some basic information about the process, and all the information that you would need to submit is in the short submission form after you have created, of course, your explorer.land profile. And since our goal here is to expand on the transparency in the nature-based solution space, that is already, I mean, that is already part of the work that you would do with your explorer.land profile when you create it. You're already becoming more transparent, but there are no other special criteria.
I think then maybe we can finalize. And yeah, I want to thank the partners and all the projects sending in information and making this possible. I really want to emphasize that this should not be like a one-man show just from one organization. It's a collaborative effort. And I think we should, let's say, reveal this ecosystem thinking, so that together as an ecosystem with complementary values, complementary activities, complementary services, complementary projects, I think we have to work closely together and hopefully make this call for projects a success, getting more nature-based projects funded over the course of the next month. And just want to celebrate that with you. We also have a press release created that summarize the information. You're welcome to share them or copy and paste them into your formats. Stay tuned. So we will send soon some more updates about partnership spotlights, of upcoming events, the status of project submissions. Hopefully we can report also soon on successes. Yeah, so that's it, I think, for today. Thank you very much and hope to see you all soon.